Welcome to the Derek Creason Show. This is episode 14. This marks a new era of the show. We are converting to video format. Yay! So, what does that mean for you guys? Well, you're still going to be able to get the audio version everywhere you already do. You know, Apple, Spotify, however you get your podcasts. But if you want more, you're going to be able to see the video version now on YouTube, Rumble, and Spotify. This has been in the works for a while. It's been an idea of mine. There's been a lot of hard work to get to here so far, but then there's still a lot to do. I've got started on my background shelf here just for some looks and some cool stuff, and we'll talk about some of those items that are on the shelf in a future episode. And I'm also I need to get some blinds reinstalled on this window that I don't have there anymore, so that during the daytime it won't be a big bright whiteout, and during the nighttime it won't be a nice big reflection of the room from the lights on the other side. But I'm not going to let that stop me right now, so I wanted to go ahead and get started with the video stuff, and we'll keep slowly improving everything over time. I'm also looking to maybe hang one of my guitars on the wall over here because I think that'll look cool. It's been a learning process. Video editing is much harder than audio editing. We're getting there, and we're going to learn along the way, so come enjoy the ride with me, and let's have some fun in a new video format on the Derek Creason Show. All right, coming up on today's show, we've got movies, we've got news. For movies, we'll talk movies with Kevin Hart, Will Smith, Nicolas Cage, and Chris Pine. So stick around and see which movies I'm talking about. That's a cliffhanger, just for fun. We'll talk about the news. We'll talk about the debates that happened a night or so ago. We'll talk about the Olympics. We'll talk about cybertrucks. We might even talk about some computer news and AI stuff if we have some time. And then we'll go into my creative corner, and I'll tell you all about what's going on creative-wise. As always, I welcome your feedback, your questions, your suggestions. Derek at derekcreason.com is the email address. At Derek Creason on X, Instagram, YouTube, and now Rumble. You can head over to my website, derekcreason.com, for my latest updates. You can go there and sign up for my newsletter so you can stay up to date with what's going on in the world. Recent life updates. What have I been up to lately? So it has been, a little over 9 weeks since I had my shoulder surgery, and I have out of the sling at 6 weeks. Finally, man, that was no fun to be in the sling for 6 weeks. I have gone back to the office for work about 3 or 4 weeks ago. That's going well. Still doing PT for quite a few more months, so it'll be a long time, but we are getting there with the recovery. They have let me upgrade to the 2-pound dumbbells at physical therapy, so that is a fun time. Let's see what else is going on. I replaced the car stereo in my car, so that's been nice to finally have some audio that works again and be able to use CarPlay with my phone. I really enjoy that. My radio was broken for quite a long time, quite a few years actually, in my car. Nice to have the tunes and the podcasts and the maps in the car again. Jackson just got back from a 2-week trip to Denmark, so that was pretty cool. He got to go over there and visit our foreign exchange student Julie and her family, and we went and visited them back in 2019. So he got to go visit them and hang out in Denmark for 2 weeks, so that was fun for him. I had Army last weekend, and that was quite a busy 4-day weekend for me. I had to drive a whole bunch. I had to drive down to Springfield and drive back for a funeral for my wife's grandma. I ended up driving about 15 hours back and forth over 4 days, which really gave me a lot of time to think. It really put me in a good headspace, despite having to attend a funeral, which was both good and bad. It was sad, but it was also an awesome time to honor the memory of our grandma Trickle and just get to see extended family that we don't get to see as often. So that was good, even though it was tough emotionally. There was lots of positive there. The driving also gave me time to just have to focus on one thing at a time. I don't know about you, but a lot of times in life we get very busy, and I've got 4 kids and 2 jobs and the house and all kinds of stuff just going crazy. That kind of forced me to only be able to think and drive, and so couldn't really do much more than that. And so I would either be listening to music or podcast or just kind of thinking through stuff. And it was really nice to be able to sit there and think and organize my thoughts. You don't really realize how much you don't have that or how beneficial it can be sometimes to have that mental margin and just some free space and not just be at wit's end or at the end of your rope all the time. So I got to have some really good music time, listen to a lot of my favorite songs and playlists. I got to listen to some long-form podcasts, which is always enjoyable. Those are hard to fit in, but sometimes it's kind of cool when you can listen to a 2-hour conversation or a podcast of somebody, and sometimes that feels a lot more productive than just scrolling social media or watching a movie. Not that those things are bad. Sure, I love to be entertained as well, but sometimes if I listen to someone talk about something for 2 hours, you get to kind of learn about them. You can learn about their life, learn about their story. What are they talking about? Do they know what they're talking about? Do you understand where they're coming from? Where have they learned their stuff? Hear their stories. And it doesn't always feel like a waste of time or been unproductive. So it's kind of neat to just sit there and kind of learn. I really enjoy learning, and long-form podcasts are another way to do that. Let me know, do you guys like long-form podcasts? I've done one long-form interview on my podcast so far, and I might do some more in the future. It's just challenging to line up guests. So you want to be on my podcast? Reach out to me, and we'll set something up. We can do an interview and talk about whatever you want to talk about. We'll give it a shot. Hey, are you craving more of the Derek Creason Show? Come join my locals community and become an insider. It's totally free. It's like a VIP backstage pass. Inside the community, you'll get exclusive content that you won't get anywhere else, including behind-the-scenes secrets, my unfiltered takes on the latest news and pop culture, and even sneak peeks at upcoming projects. I actually just posted something before I started recording the show about this up-and-coming episode. You'll also get a look into my creative process, as well as new ways to interact, connect, and engage with me and the show community directly. Plus, if you upgrade to a supporter, you'll get bonus episodes that aren't available to the public. So it's all about supporting the show and building an awesome community. Go to the derekcreasonshow.locals.com and become an insider today to get tons of free content that you won't find anywhere else. All right, let's jump into the show, guys. All right, let's talk movies. Today we got 5 movies to talk about. We're going to talk about Rise of the Planet of the Apes, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, Die Hard 2, Die Harder, Bad Boys, Ride or Die, and Lord of War. So those are some of the movies that I've watched recently since the last episode. All right, so first up is Rise of the Planet of the Apes. This is the 2011 remake when they started to remake all the Planet of the Apes movies, and a new one came out this summer in 2024, and so my idea was to go back and rewatch the 3 previous ones to try to refresh my memory before going to see them. And so I've only made it through 2 of them so far. I got one more to watch before I go see the one that came out this summer. So I'll probably just end up watching it on Netflix or Amazon, whatever it comes out on. So first up is Rise of the Planet of the Apes. This came out in 2011. This had James Franco, Andy Serkis, Brian Cox, John Lithgow, and this was the story about how James Franco was a scientist trying to help his dad with his dementia, and he's doing research on chimps, and he's testing this new formula that he's come up with, and basically it makes Caesar, the monkey, the ape, super smart, and it also helps his dad. And here, I'll just show you some of the trailer for about 30 seconds or so.
We're talking about huge potential for millions of people. Our therapy enables the brain to repair itself. We call it the cure.
Cure.
I want you to start testing on chimps ASAP.
We test one subject. I want to make sure it's stable. I designed the 112 for repair, but Caesar's gone way beyond that.
It makes him smart.
With skills that far exceed that of a human counterpart.
This is wrong, Will.
It works.
And what about Caesar? Where does he fit in?
What about
That
Caesar?
ship's company.
So it's a pretty interesting movie. It goes on, and then he ends up being put with apes, and then slowly they become other smart, and they kind of slowly start to revolt, and that kind of bleeds into the next movie. But I would give this one 4 buckets of popcorn. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 buckets of popcorn, and would recommend it for a good movie. All right, next up is Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. This one is when at the end of the first movie, there was, spoiler alert, turn it off if you don't want to hear the spoiler alert. They introduced a new one called 113, and that makes the monkeys smarter, but also aggressive. And the side effect of that virus is it starts a global pandemic and kills off most of the human race. So this is set a few years into the future, and there's just pockets of people surviving in different places, and the apes live up in the forest north of San Francisco in the big redwoods, and they start accidentally interacting with each other and end up, looks like they're going to start a war over who's going to try to take over the earth. Basically the humans or the apes. I'll show you a little bit of this trailer. PG-13. Nobody was original from the first movie on this one. This one had Gary Oldman and Kerry Russell. Here's Caesar. They've learned to ride horses now. They've learned to talk a lot more.
Apes do not want war.
Apes do not want war. Except for the one bad ape, who really does.
You know the scary thing about them? They don't need power.
They don't need
Lights,
electricity.
Heat, nothing. That's the advantage. That's what makes them stronger.
We both have families.
Alright, so we won't watch the whole 2.5 minute trailer, but that one was Dawn of Planet of the Apes, came out in 2014 with Gary Oldman and Kerry Russell. This one was good as well, not quite as interesting as the first one. I would only give this one 3 buckets of popcorn, and which means just okay on my scale. So, but still a good movie. I'd recommend it. Go watch it. Next up is Die Hard 2, Die Harder. This is a Kevin Hart action movie where he plays himself. It's a sequel to a video he did. There was some social media web app thing that came out a year or two ago, and they tried to launch short 10-minute videos, and they got a bunch of celebrities to try to help launch it, and it lasted about 4 months, 6 months maybe, before they shut it down. And he had a movie on there called Die Hard, and they had little 10-minute movies, and there was like 5 or 6 of them that told this story. This is a sequel to that. In that movie, he played himself, and he's trying to become an action star, and this whole movie is just Kevin Hart kind of going through a mystery, exploring, trying to pretend to film a real movie, but not film a real movie, but it's actually happening to him. So one of those kind of silly things. It is an action comedy. It's Kevin Hart being Kevin Hart. So it's rated R for tons and tons of language and F-bombs. So if that's not your thing, I'd recommend not watching it. But it was an entertaining action movie. John Cena's got some funny cameos in it. I would give this one 3 buckets of popcorn and say that it is okay. Next up is Bad Boys Ride or Die. This is the 4th installment in the Bad Boys franchise. Looks like they came out with another one, and this one is pretty good. I would rank this one the second best one in the whole franchise. I enjoyed it. It was better than the third one. The third one wasn't very good, but it was still better than the first one. So if I had to rank them, I'd rank them number 2, number 4, and then maybe number 1, and then 3. Yeah, probably. Anyways, this one had some good action like always. Their characters are getting a little older. They kind of drew out some of the stories that they had made for some of the new characters, so that was kind of nice. They kind of expanded that universe. They also did some change-ups. They had Martin Lawrence's character kind of flip his whole persona. They had them become fugitives and go on the run, which was a good twist on them being the cops. They had a lot of action like always, and just a good story, good action. I would rank this one 4 buckets of popcorn. I enjoyed it. It was good. Although I do miss the Glocks. They're running around with new silver guns and stuff, so I prefer the Glocks. All right, last up on movies is Lord of War. This was a rewatch. I watched it a long time ago, and this was a 2005 movie made with Nicolas Cage, and it is where he plays an arms dealer and basically travels around the world selling guns to all the third world countries, and is chased by Ethan Hawke, the Interpol agent. Just kind of goes through their story and how his life kind of falls apart, but he doesn't care because he just keeps making money, and that's what he enjoys doing. So kind of interesting to see. It was based on true stories, and it has a little bit of pointed political points that it points out that America is one of the biggest arms dealers in the world, even though he's a small arms one. So kind of interesting movie, and I enjoyed it. I'd give it 4 buckets of popcorn. So if you haven't seen it, go check it out. All right, let's talk about the news. So first up in the news, let's talk about the debates. Yay, politics. Boo, politics. Nobody wants to talk about politics. Anyways, the debate was Thursday night, and I did not watch it. I've only seen highlights on YouTube and like TikTok and stuff like that. But I have read a lot of stuff on Twitter and Reddit afterwards, and it seems like overwhelmingly that Trump did pretty good and Biden did pretty bad. And it seems like even the mainstream left-wing media is finally having to admit that Joe Biden is 80-something years old and his memory is not doing so good and just kind of in a mental decline. So, which if you've ever watched him try to talk or walk anywhere the last few years, it's kind of pretty obvious. I've got a grandpa who's almost 90. It looks very similar. He's got struggles with dementia as well. So it's kind of interesting to see the left-wing media make a big pivot, and now they're all out there fact-checking him and saying that he is just not doing well. And it seems like maybe they want to try to replace him on the ticket since they had this debate before the Democratic National Convention. So if I jump over here to a sports betting website, it says on some of the odds on who's going to be the front runner or the Democratic Democratic nominee, Joe Biden's still the favorite at minus 250, but any other candidate has a plus 170, which I might put some money on because that's actually a decent value bet. And then they've got a whole list of people you can bet on. Do you think it'll be, if they do replace him, who do you think it'll be? Gavin Newsom, Michelle Obama, Kamala Harris, Gretchen Whitmer, Hillary Clinton, Andy Bashar, Pete Buttigieg, a whole bunch list. The list goes on and on and on. Bernie Sanders has the highest odds at plus 25,000. I would not put money on that. Maybe 5 cents or $1. That would be kind of cool if you won plus 25,000%. For those of you who don't gamble, that would mean a lot of money on whatever you bet. But they put the odds that high because it's not going to happen. So what are your thoughts on that? We'll switch back to here. On the election coming up, who do you think won the debate? How did it go? Do you think Joe Biden did good or bad? Do you think Trump did good or bad? Do you think it even matters? Do you think it's just a forced setting where you get to choose between the lesser of two evils? I have not yet watched the RFK Jr. debate that he did on his own, where he answered the same questions. I am interested to hear some of his answers on that. There's some things I like about RFK Jr. and there's some things I don't like about RFK Jr. But I do like that he is a bit of an outsider and actually wants to fix some stuff versus kind of what the system is kind of forcing on you. So what are your thoughts on all that? Let me know and we'll talk about it. All right, next up is the Olympics are coming up. The Summer Olympics are here in Paris in about a month, a few weeks, not too long. Anyways, the river Seine or Seine, I don't know how to pronounce it. I've never been to France. Anyways, it's a river over there. They want to use it for swimming in the Olympics. It has a bunch of sewer stuff in it. They have been trying to clean it for over a year to get all the sewer and E. coli and bacteria out of it, and it is still not to safe levels, which I just found funny. Let me see, I'll just read some of it. It said water pollution levels in Paris's river Seine remain much higher than allowed for bathing, data showed on Friday, 1 month before the Olympics, in which the capital's landmark waterway is meant to be one of the swimming venues. Data published on the city's website showed concentrations of enterococci, and E. coli bacteria remained well above legal thresholds. So, I just find that funny. Would you be willing to go swim in a river full of crap and bacteria to win an Olympic medal? Kind of like Andy Dufresne swimming out of the prison. Would you swim through a river of you-know-what to get to your freedom to win that gold medal? I think probably a lot of Olympic athletes probably would. They are that dedicated to their sport that they would do anything they could to win. So, do you think they'll get the river cleaned up in time and be able to use it for the Olympics, or do you think they'll end up going to a swimming pool? Also, have you guys ever looked up Olympic stuff, like old Olympic venues? Like, go look up when they did the Olympics in Russia at that city called Sochi, and they built a whole bunch of stuff, like a little city for that Olympics, the Olympic Village there, and look at it now, and it's like some abandoned theme park from a disaster movie or something. The photos are kind of just incredible of how abandoned and run down the thing is now, so go check that out. All right, and last up on the news is the Tesla Cybertruck. Have you guys seen these? They actually had another recall again. I don't know how many recalls they've had, but they've had one for the gas pedal, and now they have one for the windshield wipers. The giant windshield wiper, the motor on it is bad and malfunctions, and would make it very hard to drive in the rain, of course. So there's another recall. This is just funny to me. I have actually seen one of these now. Somebody has a cybertruck in Kansas City, and I've seen it driving around in Overland Park occasionally, and it looks like some PlayStation 1 graphics of a car. It's quite humorous. They're a little ugly. I don't know anything about them. Would you drive them? What do you like about them? Do you hate them? Do you think they're stupid? I just thought it was funny that the windshield wipers are broken and on such an expensive car. So that is it for today in the news. All right, let's talk about Creative Corner, Derek's Creative Corner. What have I been working on lately? So it's been about a month since I put up that episode about Memorial Day, and my goal is to get them up every 2 weeks, but trying to switch to video has been taking quite a lot of work. So what have I been working on lately? I redid my desk setup. I moved my desk around to a different part of this room. I've been working on OBS video issues, trying to get my video camera to work, trying to get all the right settings for 1080 versus 720. It's actually quite a pain. I ended up having to switch from OBS to Streamlabs OBS, which is another version of video recording software. I've been using Envato Elements. I'll show you guys that real quick. And that is a cool website where you can get a subscription to help get you sound effects, video things, video intros, overlays, all kinds of stuff to help bring into your video editing software. I've been learning DaVinci Resolve. This is video editing software. I mentioned video editing is a lot harder. This is part of the intro that you saw at the beginning of the show. This has taken quite a bit of time to work on. You'll see there's 7 different video tracks, audio, transitions, effects, media, movies, pictures, then all kinds of settings to change on it. And so that can take a lot of work. Let's see what else has been going on. That's where I get royalty-free music. I found some other stuff. I'm also trying to work on the lighting in here to get a good lighting setup, working on good video. I've been working on background shelves. I went and found this bookshelf in the garage that needed to be cleaned out and then try to set up some cool stuff. I'll talk about some of this cool stuff in the future, but I got some neat stuff up there. I'm wanting to get maybe like a cool neon light for my social media handles. I'm wanting to hang my guitar on the wall. Just try to make it cool video background for a solo podcast, so it's not just staring at someone talking to a laptop camera. Oh, this is not a laptop camera. And then just learning my way through that and then getting better and better as we go for fun. Those are some of the creative stuff I've been working on. I've been working on trying to do some behind the scenes stuff regarding all that kind of stuff for my locals. I'm going to work on bonus episodes. I've been having to work on B-roll that you'll see in some of these video podcasts. So when I'm talking about stuff, you'll see different videos rolling over it. That's called B-roll if you're into any video editing. And so that is just some of the stuff that I've been working on in my creative corner. All right, that's going to do it for today's episode. I want to say thank you for listening and now watching along with me and hanging out today. So if you enjoyed the show, let me know. Send me your feedback. I always appreciate it. Derek@derekcreason.com is the email address where you can send me all your feedback. @derekcreason is my handle on social media, on Twitter, X, Instagram, YouTube, and Rumble. You can go over to my website, derekcreason.com, check out the latest updates there. You can sign up for my newsletter there and stay up to date. I'll send you emails, not very often, about what's going on. And then also, go check out my book on Amazon, 20-something. It's available on Kindle and paperback. You can go to Amazon and search for my name or search 20-something. You can also just go to my social media pages. It's pinned on a lot of those. So it's a very cool place. Very cool thing to find and go check out. The Derek Creason Show. You love the show. Now get exclusive access. Become an insider in my locals community. It's like having a front row seat. You'll get behind the scenes secrets, unfiltered takes on news and pop culture, sneak peeks at my upcoming projects, and if you upgrade to members only, you'll get bonus episodes that you can't get anywhere else. So come hang out, connect with me directly, see how the creative process of the show comes together, come support the show, and let's build an awesome community. Visit thederekcreasonshow.locals.com and become an insider today. All right, so be sure to follow, subscribe to the podcast wherever you found it. We're on all the major podcasting platforms, Apple, Spotify, Pocket Cast. There's like 10, 15 others that it pushes out to. And you can watch the video format now on YouTube, Rumble, and Spotify. So go like, share, and comment to your heart's content. I'll see you guys on the next episode. Later.